Okay, should be good. This. Okay, I'm in order. Hey everyone, welcome back to What Valerie Makes. I'm Valerie, and today I'm going to be talking about my January and February sewing plans. So this year I decided to get back to some of these like plans and makes videos. I really like making like a small plan for the month and sharing that here and then seeing how I do. So I'm excited to share what I have on my plans list for the next couple of months. Now, I am going away at the end of February. My sister is turning 40 this year and we have a trip to Florida and we're going to Epcot. So one of these projects is for that trip, so it might seem a little bit weather inappropriate for Buffalo, New York in February, but I threw it in there because it'll be a fun trip dress for when we go to Epcot and do all of that stuff. So I'm excited to share that. But first, I am wearing the Pansy Dress by Rosary Apparel. It's pretty new, and I just made it in this black crinkle like viscose that I had in my stash for a very long time, and I decided that I just needed a slip-on everyday black dress, and so I made one. Okay, so let's get on to the plans. Now, when I was done making my last video about my sewing goals, I specifically said that I need to look at the fabrics that I didn't use last year, which was part of my Make 9 for 2024, and either use them and give myself about a 3 to 6 month time frame on those specific fabrics, or I need to sell them or give them away to somebody else. So as soon as I stopped that video, I looked at the pile of fabrics that I had on my table and I was like, what can I actually do with these? And for some reason, I was like skimming through my patterns, and I have made the Ilford Jacket by Friday Pattern Company before. Now, I made this a few years ago now, and I don't wear that jacket anymore. Number one, it's probably a bit too snug for me at the moment. And number two, I'm just not in love with the fabric that I used. It's the perfect fabric for that project. I guess I mean the print of the fabric. Like, it just seems a little too, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but every time I put it on, went to go put it on, it just felt maybe like I was a teen or something. Like, I don't know, it just felt maybe, yeah, a little young for me. And like, if you feel great in it, perfect, but I just like didn't feel great in it. So I still have it, and I was actually very proud of that make. It was like the first time I had like ever made like a jacket before. So I'm like, this would be great. And I love wearing jackets, by the way, and I love making them. So with this fabric that I didn't know what to do with, I was like, I'm gonna make the Ilford Jacket. How cool would that be? I'm very excited about it. And also there's like a slight stretch to it, so it should be super comfy. But I plan on making the size large. And for Friday Pattern Company, they have a really great size range, and they go from an extra small, which is a 32 bust, up to a 7X, which is a 60-inch bust. And this jacket is a boxy jacket, so it's the same size for your bust down to your hips. So I'm going to make the shorter version with the placket sleeves, and yeah, with this fabric. And this might be one of my first ones that I do, but I'm excited about it. I do have to retrace this pattern because the one that I already have traced is, like I said, a little snug. So I'm gonna go up to the next size, which is the size large. So, and this is a pretty oversized jacket, but I think the large will be good. Also, Friday Pattern Company has a great sew along for this jacket on their YouTube channel, which I followed the last time, and let's be honest, I'll probably follow it again. So that is my first plan. And so another fabric that I didn't use that I was like, I know what I want to do with it finally. So I have this knit fabric, and it has like the one side is, it's really orange. Do I like that? Why is this so orange looking? This isn't the right color. Maybe it's because I'm wearing black. Anyway, this is more of the rust color, but it is this like toweling French terry, super stretchy. One side doesn't have the texture and the other side does. So my plans was to make the seam work Amari sweatshirt. Now this is like a pull-on sweatshirt. It has the 3/4 zip in the front, and it has those seam lines where on the top I want to have it so the fuzzy fabric is on the outside, and then on the bottom the fuzzy part will be on the inside. So I'm going to do kind of like a two-tone, or like the wrong side showing on the top and then the right side showing on the bottom. I think that will be really cool, and something that I've actually been thinking about with another pattern, but I don't have that pattern, and guess what? I have this one, so I'm going to use it. So for the seam work Amari sweatshirt, I plan on making the size 14. Their size range goes from a 00, which is a 32-inch bust, to a 16, which is a 44-inch bust, and that is like their misses sizes. And then they have a curve size range that goes from a 12, which is a 40-inch bust, up to a 26, which is a 54-inch bust. So that is my plan for that fabric, and this is probably also going to happen in January as well. I'm very excited about it. All I need is a zipper, and I probably have one in my stash that will work just fine. And I had Jordan print it off at work today. So I'll probably tape that together and then give it a good read through about the instructions and start on this one, because I would like to wear that soon. My next plan is to do the seam work Nash Pants. Now, I've done the seam work Nash Pants before. I wanted to actually do it in this fabric that I'm going to talk about, but I've made it up in some other jersey fabric that I had in my stash just to try the pattern out and to get the sizing right. And I did a 14 for the Nash Pants, and I'm going to do the same exact thing this time. I also did a 1-inch rise, like so that they would sit me more at my natural, like up at my waist, so I made it more high rise. Then I shortened it by like many inches. I think it was like 6 inches, because seam work does draft for like a person who is 5'9", and I am 5'2", but they do have a really like clear lengthen and shorten line on these pants. Basically, I just used that line to shorten it about 6 inches, and then I just trued the sides of the pattern. I was worried about this one because of the flare style and because of how short I am. Sometimes if you shorten flares on somebody who's short, it sometimes looks funny. But like I said, they drafted that like lengthen and shorten line like in a really good spot. So like the flare actually looks like a classic pair of flare pants, which I never get to do. I never get to have. Yes, and for those, they also have the 2 size ranges. So it goes from a 00, which is a hip of 34, to an 18, and that is a hip of 38. And then, that's not true, a hip of 48. And then the curve range is a size 12, which is a hip of 44, to a size 30, which is a hip of 64. So a very good size range on these Nash pants. I also like the seam lines. I really want a black pair in my wardrobe. And that is why I have this Ponte from Mood Fabrics. But I thought I would really like a pair of like pull-on flare black pants. So I'm gonna do that. And the best part is I already have this pattern traced out and ready to go. I know I said I wanted to do those other ones right away, but this one might even be the first one. Also, because I already have black thread on my serger and in my sewing machine. So that might be what we do first, is the Nash pants. Okay, now on to my dress that I want to make for when I go to Disney. Let's talk the pattern first. I was going back and forth about what exactly I would want to be wearing at Disney, and I thought maybe I would do the Shelby dress, but actually I was like, you know what? I've had the Closet Core Elodie wrap dress in my pattern stash for a while. And this one actually might be more comfortable to wear at Disney because if I'm like moving around more, it's not like the button closure and you know what I mean? So it has a little bit more give and a little bit more room in this one by the looks of it and by the ones that I've seen online. So I am going to be doing View A version, which is the short sleeve and the mini dress. I have seen some really good versions of this online. Mostly I was looking at them because I have a really difficult time with a wrap dress. I have a small bust, so I sometimes have a lot of extra fabric, but I have done some reading. They have a blog post about if you have what to do if you have like specifically for this pattern, like different tips on what to do to get the right fit. So that's why I'm going for it, because I think that with all the resources at my fingertips, I'm going to be able to pull off this dress. And it's a lovely dress. I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it in my wardrobe for the summertime. And I'm going to be doing a size 12 is what I decided. I also might make a broad back adjustment on this one. And now when it comes to the size range on the Elodie, they also have a really great size range. They have in print form, which is what I have right here. They have the 0 to 20 size range. And then they also have a curve range for this that you can get PDF only though, I believe. And that is on their website. And now you're probably wondering, Val, what fabric are you gonna use? Well, it's like the perfect Disney fabric. Look at this. Doesn't this scream like, I don't know, Disney princess? It really does to me. So this is the beautiful Be Happy Blooms Eco Vero viscose from Guthrie and Ghani that I got probably when they had their anniversary release of this fabric, which might have been 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And what else did I want to say? Oh, and then to go along, I will have extra fabric. And to go along with this dress, I was going to make myself a pair of like mini ears with the leftover fabric. So I saw some cute like tutorials on Pinterest about how to make your own like mini ears. And I basically just wanted something like super simple because they can get cray and also so cool. Like what people do to make their own like Disney ears is pretty crazy and like props. But for me, I just wanted to do like the classic like mini ears with a bow in the middle. And so I'm going to use some leftover fabric to do the ears and then pick one of the colors in the fabric just to make the bow in the middle. and then call it a day. So my sister and I are going to have a little craft night sometime, probably at the beginning of February, and make those. So yeah, that's what I wanted to remember to say. The other thing that I wanted to at least work on, this is not going to be something that is started and finished by any means, but I did want to start on the quilt that I'm going to be making. I'm very excited to start my quilt. I took a look at the pattern this past weekend. I made sure that I had like all the groups together, read through some of the instructions. It looks like something I can do, everyone. I'm very happy, and like I've been so scared because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like looking at it for the first time, it is a little scary. But I took a couple of hours this weekend just to go through my fabric, go through the pattern, decide on what size I was definitely going to make sure I had enough fabric, which I didn't. So I ordered more of the fabric from the same person. So the pattern that I'm talking about, and I did mention it in my sewing plans and goals for the year video, but it is the Diana quilt by Kitchen Table Quilting. The fabric that I bought was from Bear Hill Quilts, and I bought that on Etsy. So some of the pieces I just need a bit more, like I need like a half of a yard, and I only have a fat quarter of some of it, so I just had to buy another fat quarter to get myself to the amount just on some. And then I got another bundle of plain so that I could finish off some of the pieces that I was missing. But now I feel like ready to go. And so I at least want to, in January and February, like cut out the squares, organize them, put them aside, and maybe start sewing the rows together. But that is definitely something that I want to start doing. And the first step to doing a quilt is like actually starting. So that's my mindset. I'm gonna just go, I'm gonna start and see where I get, and I'll report back. And then last but not least, I am going to be making Butterick 4020, and it is a vintage pattern. Yeah, vintage is at over 20 years, right? Yes, and so this came out in 2003, which is crazy to say that that's vintage. But it is, I guess. So I'm going to be making this pattern for Jordan, specifically the top. So there's an inspiration picture from a brand, and I have already made basically the skirt part of this outfit for them. And I was like, well, that jacket seems pretty like something I could maybe do. I ordered the same fabric from Blackbird. They did have a little break during the holidays, which good for them. So I haven't gotten the fabric yet. What kind is it? The viscose linen in the Midnight Spruce. And I believe that the skirt that I made is from Blackbird Fabrics. It's the Midnight Spruce, but it's the washed linen. For some reason I bought it, and then like recently, like days and days later, I was like, I think that's the right one. So I looked at my past purchases and I'm like, oh, it's the wash linen. I hope it still looks all right. So, I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, won't we? But I'm pretty sure it's gonna look great. But with a pattern like this, I'm going to have to probably do some kind of mock-up. And something that I'm gonna do is just like do the like extra little things to make it look more similar to the jacket inspiration, adding another layer to the peplum on the bottom, and also like changing up the collar a little bit. But those are all things that I feel pretty confident that I could do. So this will be started January, February, and yeah, we'll see how far I can get. But that is my last plan for the next couple of months. I want to know what you're sewing. I love to hear what you're sewing. Please tell me what you're making. How do you feel about my list of things? Do you think I can do it all? I am so happy that you clicked on this video today and that you chose to spend your time with me today. Thank you very much. If you're not subscribed yet and you're back, what are you doing? Subscribe, it's free. Thanks again so much for being here, and until next time, bye. Have fun. I love sewing plans. I love ginger seltzer.